Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, wa salatu salam ala Rasulullah. We continue reading from the 40 principles of the religion, the 40 fundamentals of the religion, Al-Arba'in fi Usul Din by Imam Al-Ghazali rahimahullah. ونفعنا بعلوم في الدارين آمين آمين آمين. We have reached the 7th principle, that is of the 4th quarter, that is the 37th principle, and it is really on tawakkul, reliance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُتَوَكِّلُونَ. Let those who rely upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَتَوَكَّلُوا إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. Rely upon Allah if you are believers. And he said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُتَوَكِّلِينَ. Allah surely loves those who rely upon Him. And he said, Allah is sufficient. وَمَن يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. Allah is sufficient for whoever relies upon Him. And he said, أَلَيْسَ اللَّهُ بِكَافٍ عَبْدَهُ. Is it not Allah enough for His slave? And he said, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ تَعْبُدُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ لَا يَمْلِكُونَ لَكُمْ رِزْقًا فَابْتَغُوا عِندَ اللَّهِ الرِّزْقَ. Those whom you worship beside Allah surely do not possess any provision for you to seek your provision. So seek your provision from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not only they do not possess any provision for you, they can neither benefit you nor harm you. And this is why Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he mocked the idols of his people by destroying all of them and keeping the largest one, the major one, the main one, so when they came back from their festival, from whatever, they asked him, basically they were accusing him because he did mention these idols before negatively. So he said that this big one is the one who destroyed all of the other ones. And they knew immediately two things. That idol cannot do anything. Number two, Ibrahim alayhi salam was really mocking their idols, and he proved immediately that they were wrong. And there's a story about, this is not in our Islamic literature, but there's a story that is about, Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam witnessing someone. He was present when someone wanted to buy an idol, because those who believe in idols and worship them, they might have a house where they keep a massive one, but they might have idols also at home. So this person wanted to buy an idol for himself, and it was made that day. So a piece of stone and a piece of wood, it could be, and you carve it. So the Ibrahim alayhi salam asked him, how old are you? And he said, because any number of years is, and it appears to be that this person was old enough. And then Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam asked him, how could it be that an old man would worship an idol that is 1 day old, something like that. How could basically people take idols? How could they talk to idols? How could they feed idols? There are in Southeast Asia, there was once in Malaysia a long line of Hindus, each one carrying a bowl of milk and a spoon, and they were feeding an idol. And the Chinese next door, they put all kinds of fruits and cakes in front of their own idol. So they neither benefit you nor harm you, except that the very act of worshiping these idols in itself, as an act of disbelief, it does harm them. It does jeopardize really their destination, their ultimate destination in the hereafter. The Prophet ﷺ said, if you were to rely upon Allah with the reliance He truly deserves, He would assuredly provide for you, just as He provides for the birds. They start the day with empty stomachs, yet return full in the evening. It's a sound tradition. That's true reliance. Acting upon, taking the cause-effect relationship and acting upon it does not negate really reliance. Let's remember that the one of the sunan of the of Friday, you basically, of course, having a shower was one of them, but one of the sunan is to recite Surah Al-Kahf. And the cave. If it's really for the blessings, then it could be that could be achieved by reciting any chapter of the same length or even more. If it's really about the blessing, about the divine reward. Therefore, there is something in that, in addition to the blessings, there is something in Surah Al-Kahf, in that chapter, in that surah, that we are reminded of every week. We recite it every Friday. So 52 times a year, you are reminded of the content. One of these stories, and of course it has many stories. One of the stories in Surah Al-Kahf is about the Qarnayn, whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given placed the what we might call the cause effect nature of things, availing it to Dhul Qarnayn. Then he followed suit by acting ثم أتبع سببا ثم أتبع سببا ثم أتبع سببا فأتبع سببا. So التمكين إن مكنا له في الأرض, that way is associated with the sababiyya. So humanity, Muslims, we need to act, and that does not negate reliance. Then two other traditions are mentioned here. Both of them are weak. The next one is Whoever cuts himself off from all except Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala supplies his every need and provides for him from whence he did not expect. Whoever cuts himself off from all except the world, Allah leaves him to it. This tradition includes Ibrahim ibn al-Ash'ath in the chain of narrators, and he is weak. A third one, also problematic in terms of chain of narrators. Allah's Messenger وسلم, used to say, whenever his family was impoverished, stand up to pray. He used to say, this is what my Lord commanded me with. Stand up to pray. In fact, in the text, there are two different texts of this hadith. One of them يا أهله صلوا صلوا. Then it is followed. It does include this the following verse, because he used to say, this is what my Lord commanded me with, وَأْمُرْ أَهْلَكَ بِالصَّلَاةِ وَاصْطَبِرْ عَلَيْهَا لَا نَسْأَلُكَ رِزْقًا نَحْنُ نَرْزُقُكَ وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلتَّقْوَى. Command your family to pray and be steadfast therein. We do not ask you for provision, we provide for you. In the end, the best outcome is for those who have fear of Allah. Sayyidina Ismail alayhi salam, and Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam comes from his offspring. Sayyidina Ismail alayhi salam, in the Quran, he is described as also someone who used to invite his family, to command his family to pray. كان يأمر أهله بالصلاة. The reality of reliance. The reality of reliance is an expression of a state that emerges from affirmation of divine oneness, Tawheed, and its effect appears on deeds. It has three pillars: knowledge, state, and deeds. The first pillar is knowledge, and it is the foundation. By it I mean knowledge of divine oneness. For only someone who sees no actor besides Allah relies on him. The reality of Tawheed for Imam Al-Ghazali is to see everything from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The perfection of this knowledge is contained in your statement. There is nothing worthy of worship except Allah, alone without partner. All dominion belongs to Him and all praise, and He is powerful over everything. Within this statement is faith in divine oneness, the perfection of His power and generosity, and the wisdom for which He deserves all praise. Whoever says this truthfully and sincerely has completed his affirmation of divine oneness, and the foundation through which the state of reliance emerges is established in his heart. By truthfulness, I mean that the purport of this statement becomes an inextricable quality of his person and predominant over his heart, so that there is no room for supposing anything else. The four layers declaring divine oneness. This declaring of divine oneness has two cores, two shells, outer shells, and four layers, like an almond with a core. Extract as the core of its core, and the outer shell as the shell of its shell. The outer shell is the statement of the tongue by itself, which is the faith of the hypocrites, lip service. The second is decisive belief in the heart, which is the level of the generality of creation and the theologians, for they are not distinguished from lay people except by the knowledge of responding to and refuting the confusion of innovators in regards to these beliefs. The third, which is the core, is when the reality of declaring this divine oneness and its true secret is exposed to a person through the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This means that he sees many things, yet knows that they are all emanate from a single actor according to an order. By this actor, he means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This means that he realizes the chain of causes, how they are sequenced, and the connection of the beginning of the chain of the causer of causes, musabbab al-asbab, which in the Islamic worldview, it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just to mention that the prime mover for Aristotle is not involved in the details of the universe of life after that initial move, if you will. The person of this station is nevertheless still in separation because he sees actions, their abundance, and their connection to the actor, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The fourth, which is the core of the core, is that a person does not see anything in existence except one, and knows that what is existent in reality is one, and that the plurality and it is only in reference to whoever's awareness is divided. The latter is like someone who, for example, sees from a person his leg, then his arm, then his face, then his head, and thus is overcome by his plurality. Yet if he were to see a person all at once, each individual part would not occur to him. Rather, he would perceive them all in a single thing. The same goes for someone who declares divine oneness, seeking the sky, the earth, the heaven, the earth, and the rest of existence does not divide his awareness. Rather, he sees all under the rule of a single thing. Let me say that many people, you might know that example of the elephant in the room, and you have blind people. Someone touches the trunk and thinks this is the elephant, someone touches the tail, someone touches the ear, someone touches a leg. But really these are parts, and usually we speak about the elephant in the room. I'm just simply giving this as an example where it is said that people who are blind, they touch. And really in this life, you might find people who are blind, and we don't talk about physical blindness, blind at heart, hard at hearing, hard at seeing, hard at grasping the reality, the issue. So they miss the elephant in the room, and they be busy with a part thinking that this is really the whole story. Of course, it's not. This subject has some depth, and unveiling it would necessitate a lengthy discussion. Therefore, seek in the Book of Divine Oneness from the books of the Revival, so that you may ponder some of its indications. Obliteration in divine oneness only happens with this declaration of divine oneness, which is that a person becomes immersed in the one truth until his heart does not turn to other than him, subhanahu wa ta'ala, nor does it turn to his consciousness. For his consciousness, insofar as it is his consciousness, is other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even if the meaning of otherness is not realized by him in the moment. It may be realized through another perspective and by considering another aspect. All actions are related to the cause of causes. The reality of reliance only requires that declaring divine oneness be actualized. It does not require obliteration in declaring oneness of the essence. Rather, it is permissible for the one who relies to see plurality, causes, and effects. However, he should witness the connection of the chain to its ultimate cause. I believe this is obvious to you in regards to whatever does not fall under the choice of human beings. Indeed, if you see the rain as a cause for plant growth, then you know that the rain is subjected to the means of the clouds, and the clouds are subjected to the means of wind and vapor from the oceans. Likewise, the oceans are bodies that are inevitably subjected to whatever ends at the first cause, even if you do not know the number of means. There's no harm in that. What is not obvious to you is human actions. Indeed, you say, whoever feeds me, he definitely feeds me by choice. If he wills, he gives. If he wills, he withholds. How could I not see him as a doer? In turning your attention to the doer in this way, you are like an ant. It sees the black line over the white page that occurs when the pen is moved and ascribes that to the pen. Its eye is small and weak, so it does not look unto the finger, nor from it to the hand, nor from it to the ability to move that the hand possesses, nor from it to the will that the ability is employed for, nor from it to the knowledge that the movement of will depends on, nor from it to the possessor of ability, knowledge, and will. Likewise, you ascribe the actions of the slaves to their will, knowledge, and ability. Your gaze does not fall upon the pen by which knowledge is recorded on the slates of hearts, nor from it to the fingers that the hearts of the slaves are between, nor from them to the hand by which Adam's clay was fermented, nor from it to the power by which the hand was moved to ferment Adam's clay, alayhi salam, nor from it to the all powerful room, all powerful from whom you began and to whom you will return. This is because you do not know, of course, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is because you do not know the meaning of the Prophet's statement. So, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, truly Allah created Adam upon his image. Okay. Now the translation, we have to fine tune the translation. But let me just على صورته, the pronoun على صورته in general in Arabic, as a rule, the pronoun goes back to the very last. The pronoun goes back to the very last noun mentioned before it. So in this tradition, which is really narrated by Bukhari and Muslim, the Prophet ﷺ said, "Inna Allah khalaqa Adama ala suratihi." So it's really that ha at the end of suratih, his image. In the English translation, though, the way when you read it, it does not show that it is a capital H. And this means that the translator already adopted that the H in Arabic, ala suratih, goes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, in Allah khalaqa Adam ala suratih. So the first problem is that, and it's basically the problem in translating it, is that you skip Adam and you think that it refers to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Well, we should add also that this is the biblical narrative. But even then, the Hebrew word, the original one, because then if you refer to English, refer to a translation, Bitsalmo is the Hebrew word for in his image. The image that you see the human being, ala surati ala surah, that's the way you see the human being. Then it is followed by a statement that is really from it's mentioned. It seems it has been said that it is really from the it belongs to Salman al-Farisi radiyallahu anhu. I fermented Adam's clay with my hands. Okay. Then it is followed by the verse from the Quran. الذي علم القلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. Okay. Indeed, you do not know a pen except one made from reed. Yes, of course, at the time. Today it could be made from endless possibilities. Nor a hand or fingers except those made from flesh and bone, nor an image except one of colors and forms. If that were unveiled to you, you would know that you are not the one who throws when you throw. Rather, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala throws. وَمَا رَمَيْتَ إِذْ رَمَيْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ رَمَى. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala throws when He places over you the decisive need and knowledge that directs you to certainty that your salvation is in throwing, for example. Then the ability that is unique to your makeup is set in motion as a servant to your will, and will has been made a servant to knowledge by subjugation and compulsion. You have already come to the realization that you are compelled to choose. Thus, you do that if you will. However, you only will if Allah wills, whether you want to or not. Within this is a secret that moves between the principle of coercion and choice. الجبر والاختيار, and can give a false impression of a contradiction between divine oneness and moral responsibility. We have already explained this in the book of divine oneness and reliance and the book of gratitude from the revival here on the Deen, to seek it there if you are qualified to understand it. So inshallah we'll continue still with the same principle, 70th chapter, until tomorrow inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.